Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea's podcast. And that's right, you man are fuming once again as it's not live. But I keep telling you guys, it will be live when there is breaking news, okay? Until then, we like to take it at our own pace now, and I think it's good for the group. But boys, how are we doing before we get into all the topics? Because there's quite a few things to discuss. There's a few things that are non-Chelsea related, which kind of goes against the show name. But hey, we like to break rules around here. But first of all, Younes, how are you doing, boss?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Hello, boys. I'm good, man. I hope all of you are all good. I hope everyone watching us is doing well. Yeah, we're in a good place. We're chilled. Waiting for us to take on the new oil boys in town on Saturday. So yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Back-to-back penalty shootout wins in the Carabao Cup. Miz, how are you doing, bro? Was you nervous after last night, or are you feeling all right?
No, I wasn't nervous. I had a feeling we're going to win in the penalty shootout, knowing that it's Kepa. And I was, in my watch-along, I was I was just commentating that I've got a feeling Kepa's going to save at least 3. He ended up saving 2. So I wasn't nervous. I was just a bit annoyed with the way we played. Again, these French players are just, we tend to think we've got a lot of depth, but how quality is the depth is a bit of a question mark. But in regards to Younes's oil boys, they better be known as the relegation boys for the time being, because they are in scary position, man. I mean, these Saudi owners, they better be worried. They really better be worried. But yeah, besides that, it's been all good, man.
I think we'll start by giving some brief thoughts on Southampton. We'll end with Newcastle, and in between we'll go all over the place. But with last night, I mean, I know the team was much rotated, and there was barely any relationships on that pitch in terms of chemistry and fluidity. But that left-hand side was an absolute eyesore for a lot of that game. There was a lovely bit in the second half where I think Hudson-Odoi moved to the left, and they had a lovely link up between I think him, Kova, and Kai. They had a lovely little exchange, and then they nearly managed to get a goal scoring opportunity out of it. That was very fluid, but apart from that, it was just so clunky down that side. Like Malong Sarr, Alonso, and Barkley kind of drifted over there as well in the front three. I was doing a watch along, right? And me in the chat, I was being so sarcastic. I was just bantering about the whole Malong Sarr thing because they were absolutely ripping into it. And I was like, guys, you need to have a little bit of patience. He's generational, all right? We need to have he's minimum world-class potential. We need to have a little bit of patience here. Stop bickering and just allow him to develop, all right? He hasn't had many games. He didn't cost much. So I was defending Malong Sarr, right? And they were just like, no, get him out the club. I've had enough. Oh.
The tables have turned.
By the way, we're not talking about Malang Sarr.
We're not. But I sent a super chat to Younes, yeah. So I was listening to Younes's. I was listening to Younes's watch along while I was on mine, and I was like, guys, I'm going to send a super chat to Younes asking him about the performance, and we'll see what he says. I bet he's going to say to have patience, and I send it to Younes. He's like, well, we did. Well, we did say.
I was like, he left a comment. He was like, oh, Malang Sarr. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, the time has come. We said this. The amount of, not hate, it wasn't hate, but the amount of criticism.
Yeah, no patience for it whatsoever.
About Sarr. And now it's been justified. Now you get where we were coming from, people.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I still believe in Malang Sarr. Leave me out of this. Leave me out of this.
Oh,
I don't want to get abused.
I just thought it was so funny because last week, obviously, he played against Brentford as well. He was good. I still think he struggled in the end, but everybody kind of did. It was difficult that day. And they were like, go live on All You Can Eat Chelsea. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to see apologies for them Malong Sarr. And I was like, all right, calm it down. Give it a bit longer. He's only played one competitive game against Brentford, and it was still a struggle. It was good. It was difficult for him to come into. It was a struggle. And now this week, they're like, hey, don't go live, man, please. We don't want to hear any of that stuff.
The Malang Sarr brigade ran away quicker than anything.
They retreated.
But Younes,
bro, they peppered that side.
Yeah, no, we did. We really did. But I mean, Younes, bro, how do you feel about just the performance, or is it you don't really care? Just we got through and whatever, get through and whatever.
It wasn't great. Let's be honest. It was worrying, especially that second half. I expected us to come out and be a bit better in the second half, because the first half was all right, especially going in at halftime 1-0. That was a nice, comfortable cushion. But yeah, we come out and we just, I don't know. Again, it just looked like we had our heads in the dressing room. We then conceded, and after that, it kind of went pear-shaped. And to the point, the last 15 minutes, we couldn't defend. I was like, yo, what's going on? This is Chelsea. What? We're meant to be the best when it comes to like defending and having that structure. Southampton is just ripping through. So that was a little bit of a concern. But when you look at who we played, it's not a surprise. In terms of the selection, the rotation, the players that don't normally get minutes, it was good for them. And the fact that we made it through during that penalty shootout, I was in two minds. I was like, look, if we make it through, cool. If we don't, I'm not even that fussed, because we've got bigger fish to fry this season. And we could do it freeing up the schedule a little bit. But now we made it through and we won that penalty shootout in great fashion, by the way, except for Mason Mount's penalty. Mason's got to up it on penalties.
I think he's dropped down the pecking order a bit for me after these misses, yeah.
Yes. But after we've made it through now, quarterfinal, I'm thinking, you know what? All right, now we've got to win it. Especially Man City knocked out. Now we're like, yo, okay, this is our name on the trophy.
Outside of Liverpool, everybody else, like, we should be beating everybody else. Like Liverpool, the one team that's like really difficult. I think, Hakim Ziyech, spokesman Ms. Shisha. There was a moment, right? There was a moment. There was the
advocate of Hakim. Take it.
There was a clip where he lost the ball in the space of like a minute 3 times, and I was like he overhit one return for a 1-2. Then he tried, I think, a longer pass and it failed. And then he something else and that also failed. Now, if he can't take opportunities in these games, I'm actually starting to think that if we do rotate again, I don't know who we're going to get in the next round. Say we get a Brentford or whatever, or West Ham, and they play their B team again, and we do make changes. Because I do like staying in this competition, because it does allow us to give players that aren't going to get the opportunity in the Premier League chances to play. So we're not exactly like, I know we're playing more games, but we're not exhausting our first 11. We are rotating heavily, and I do want us to keep doing that as much as the performances are difficult to watch, because we have a big team, and this is a great game for players like Ziyech, so they don't become too out. I think if we don't have these type of games, players like Ziyech, you don't play in the Premier League and maybe won't get a game for a while. When we do need them, they won't be fit, they won't be match sharp. So that's where my worry comes in. But Harvey Vale, like, he was on the bench, and I'm thinking to myself, it's only a matter of time before I say bring him on for Ziyech, because this guy is just he's not doing it. Miss, what's going on?
Oh, bro, I mean, it's so disappointing. It is so disappointing to see that he's failing. It hurts. I don't know what to say. I mean, I was so excited when I saw that corner and he got that assist. I was like, at least do something. You got yourself an assist, fine. Stats do matter. Hopefully you can kick on from here. But my days, that whole game, he was just invisible. So I don't know, man. I think how do you persevere with this? How do you persevere with this? Like, I know Thomas Tuchel's trying his best to say that we believe in him, we trust him. He even came up with the story that he's not free yet, that shoulder injury is still sort of in the back of his mind, that when he accelerates or decelerates, it's still bothering him subconsciously, throwing all these big words out there. Thomas Tuchel, calm yourself down. The whole thing that matters with me is that the man is in his prime. And I keep saying this, and it's so huge and impactful. It's what Younes said. You get one prime in your life. You get one prime. And it's going away from you right in front of your face. So I said to myself, I have to wait till at least January. I can't. Right now, it's bad. It's poor. But a lot of people's like, sell. Well, firstly, we can't even sell now. So calm yourself down about that. So we've got to wait till at least January, I'd say. At the end of January, see how his season's been. And if it's poor at that stage, I think that should be the answer that, look, for yourself, move on. And for ourselves, we need to find better. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have this rule where I give everybody two full seasons, right? But he is really pushing that envelope. You know, he's really pushing me to say January as well, because, and I love that rule, because I think it's the perfect amount of time for a player to prove themselves, to adapt, to, you know, learn what they need to learn, new country, all of that. He's had injuries, I'm sympathetic to all that. But it's do you know what it is with Ziyech? It's unfortunately for him is that his style that he plays in, he can't afford to be playing poorly for a long period of time, because then you know, people will just start throwing around the whole lazy and things like that. Do you know what I mean? It's unfortunate for him that he's not the style of player that is like a Werner, who will run, you know, through brick walls, because when Werner's not playing well, we can fall back on, well, at least Werner, you know, got his socks dirty. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but we you know what I mean? We say these things are silly, but when, you know, in the grand scheme of things, like if you've got two players that are off form, the one that's working harder who looks like they're working harder is easier to stomach their form than the one that obviously is more of a glider, and that's how he plays the game.
Matisse, you know what the issue is? It's the fundamentals. There are times where he's shooting and he can see there's a guy in front of him. So if you shoot, you're going to hit him.
Yeah.
But he still shoots thinking the ball's going to go straight through his guts and then come out from the other end. It's not going to, it won't do that. You
FIFA glitch.
I don't know if he's thinking anymore.
And this isn't new. This has been going on for a little bit. You remember a few games ago, like I made that point of he comes to the edge of the box and he decides to pass or shoot. There's a man right there. It's going to hit him, and it hits him. Like, what are you doing, bruv? I don't understand. I think with Ziyech as well, I'm starting to think maybe there might, amongst the Chelsea fan base, not maybe the club. Maybe the club knew this. I don't know. But maybe we've, as a collective, miscalculated our expectations with him, because he's always been a player that's been, you know, nice to watch on the ball, is very quick, glides very well, is very technical. And I'm starting to think we expected a bit of a dribbler with this guy as well. We expected someone that's able to take on players, someone that's able to, you know, get himself out of really tight situations. It's clear he can't do that. The way it's looking like now, it just looks like he doesn't do it. Every time he comes into adversity, I expect, okay, this is a chance for him to be able to try and get past 2 or 3 men, try and come up with something innovative in that little tight space. Nothing. As you said, he tries to go for the pass or the shot, and it just hits the man right in front of him. I'm like, this isn't the Ziyech I expected. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe there's been a miscalculation amongst all of us here. I don't know.
All I can say to both of you guys is that there has to be an element of the current way that Thomas Tuchel's playing with the 3 at the back, the wing backs, and inside forwards tucked in, fluid front 3. That's very different to how, if you look back at the Ajax season, especially that Champions League run that they had, where Ziyech was killing it and he was just scoring for fun. Even the game where under Frank Lampard, when Chelsea played Ajax and Ziyech was at Stamford Bridge, he was unbelievable that game. That was a lot to do with the way Ajax plays. You know, their movement is elite. Ziyech was predominantly playing on the right side and then drifting in. The whole game was sort of revolved around Ziyech. That's how Ajax made that platform. And I think when Frank Lampard brought him in, Frank, when he finally got to use Ziyech, was using Ziyech as the main guy. Frank would say a lot of praise in press conference that he's one of the best passers, if not the best passer in the football club at the moment. Ziyech was winning man of the matches, the first few matches under Frank Lampard. And Frank was using him on that right side in a 4 sort of lone DM, attacking eights and whatnot. I think that is probably more suited as opposed to what Thomas Tuchel's doing now. Yeah. So that has to play some element, but I'm not taking that away from fundamentals, the basics of the game. passing, shooting. Yeah, you still got to get the basics right. Do you know what I mean? Which is not.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of players that had a good game and had a good outing, I think Saul Niguez was better than he usually is. I think it's weird because I thought he played well, but then a lot of the people that went to the game, like a lot of match goers, like come onto Twitter and said it wasn't really that impressive. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't see the game the same way they did. I thought he definitely got a lot of shots off. I was quite impressed with his shooting, and he got a few headers, and he could have scored, really. It was really unfortunate not to score. He had a lovely curling effort that was going to go right into the top corner that was really well saved. Trevor Chalobah, for me, was man of the match, alongside Kepa doing very well to bounce back from his mistake. But because of the mistake, he probably takes a few points down. But Trevor was just so commanding. So he's been brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't really come up with enough adjectives for that guy. He's been so flawless at this point. It's ridiculous, especially when he wasn't really in many people's mouths last season in terms of coming back here and doing the business. And yeah, like I haven't really got many more complaints, really. I think everybody else just kind of did their business. But talking about business, you know, Barcelona are doing some serious business. I know we've all got some thoughts on that. I mean, they're ninth. I think they were 9th or 10th in the league, and then they sacked their manager, Ronald Koeman, which is really long overdue. Yeah. And I expected them personally. I didn't actually know. I'm not going to say expected because that would be me giving more credit to the way that they're run recently than they deserve. But if I was them, I thought they would have been going and absolutely flying in for Ten Hag. Like fly in for that man because he's literally Barcelona. He looks ready for, like, he looks like he suits that job. And they've got a lot of young talent coming through, Fati, Gavi, you know, Pedri, you know, players like that. So maybe, you know, if they start to get rid of your Gerard Piqués even, you know, just start to really get rid of the older players and start to build a young team. Ten Hag can work with a young team and then they can try and build their club back. But they're going with Xavi. And from personal experience, bringing in legends becomes very conflicting emotionally. And the reward, I don't think, is as great as the, you know, as all the stress. So, I mean, Miz, how do you feel about Xavi going to Barcelona?
Yeah, I saw Fabrizio Romano obviously tweet this yesterday. And then off the back of that, got a lot of Chelsea fans tweeted, ooh, you want to go through that, you know, legend route again. You want to go through that. You know, one of your own and get burned. And we know about all of this. And I sort of thought about that. Look, it's not going to be always the case where it's going to turn out to be like Frank Lampard or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There may be an exception. And I'm not stating that Xavi will be an exception. I'm just saying there could be a chance he could be an exception here. I mean, Pep Guardiola, wasn't he a Barcelona player as well?
Yeah, sure so was Zidane, Real Madrid. Yeah. So
was Zidane. So there are exceptions. And
Conte, you could say.
Maybe it works in Spain.
Conte as well with Juventus, I believe. Conte played for Juventus. Yeah. The reason why I'm thinking this way, and I hope and I pray to the comments later on, please don't take it in a negative sense with Frank Lampard, right? Don't try and make me seem like I'm going again. I'm just stating my point here, which is, I don't know about you guys. I saw a recent, probably about a couple of months ago, I saw a video of Xavi's tactical breakdown, right? He was talking about, I think it was in Coach's Voice, that Coach's particular... Voice, yeah. You know which one I'm talking about, right? Younes,
I think I've seen the clip.
Twitter account?
Yeah.
And I was a bit intrigued. I was like, okay, what does this brother have to say? Because he was speaking Spanish, and, you know, Spanish just sounds so beautiful. I was like, I want to click and just hear this guy out. And I was captivated for the 10 minutes that particular video was. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. Go ahead, check it. And then from there on, I wanted to see a little bit more of Xavi, different clips, more tactical stuff, more of his ideology to the club. I think it's a Saudi Arabian club that he manages at the moment. And
Qatari.
Qatari club that he manages. And what I got out of it is, and this is my first fundamental. As a manager, I feel you need to be tactically aware, first of all. You need to have some sort of tactical nous to go into a job in order to win matches. You can't just be all vibes and, you know, passion and no. Gaffer, how do we win a match besides the vibes and the desire?
Run! Run!
Well, and express yourself.
Go out there and outrun them.
Don't tell me to express yourself, because I don't know what that means. So
don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Go out there and express yourself.
Have fun, guys.
Sounds like a primary school teacher. Don't be shy now. Go out there and express yourself, okay? You'll make plenty of friends, okay? It's only your first day.
So for me, it's very important that the manager has an idea as to how am I going to beat this team. And it feels to me Xavi is a deep thought person as to how he's going to do it. And for me, that's fundamental number one, in order to have an idea. Now, the second thing, and this is where my question rises about Xavi. Is Xavi going to be able to convey his messages to his player? Because you could be great tactically, I know what to do, but can I actually get you to do what you need to do? I saw, if you can get that Qatari team to do what you want them to do, and those boys don't even speak Spanish or English, and if you can get them to do what you sort of thought your ideology was, I'm sure you should be able to convey that message to your Barcelona boys who are predominantly Spanish. I know there's a lot of Dutch players there right now. My last concern, and probably the biggest concern, is, are you going to be able to manage some of the boys you played with? Busquets, PK, I don't know, whoever else is there. Even Aguero, he played against.
Jordi Alba.
So, Jordi Alba. Like, that could be the issue where I hope he gets a clear out and actually brings some of the talent from the La Masia. Do you know what I mean? From the youngsters through. I think he could do it. And not to forget the fact that this guy's a legend of the club. So they're all going to be behind Xavi, let's be honest. He was a king at Barcelona. I think tactically, this man, just check out the way he talks about the game. I kid you not. And once again, guys, I'm not having a go at Frank Lampard. I've not seen Frank talk tactically like that. And for me, that is very, very important, to be able to break down a game tactically.
Arteta did the same thing though, and that definitely gassed me when he had his first press conference, and then little did I know he was just didn't know what he was doing. So, but I get what you're saying. I think for me, the key for a young manager is always that they have young players. I think Lampard showed it in his first season. You know, the players that played the best for him were either running out of contract in Willian, or the players that were young, Tammy, Tomori, Mount, you know, Ten Hag at Ajax, Arteta at Arsenal, you know, Saka, Smith Rowe, Tierney, those guys, and so on and so forth. So, but I think that's step number one for a young manager. And then step number two, like you said, is translation, you know. And I think it will be interesting to see, because you can have all these ideas. We can, you know, even on Twitter, all these coaches, you know, you can have all these threads and all this head of the curve and tactical Tommy, and all the guys out there who are UEFA A license. And, you know, some of them, I you know, sometimes I do go on Twitter and learn, and there's some really knowledgeable guys on the game, but then coaching players to do what you actually want them to do and getting it into their heads and getting the right training drills and keeping them fun, but then keeping them tricky, so it's actually challenging them and they're learning that's where it's difficult now, because you can't just read the thread and be like, right, go do that. Do you know what I mean? You can't just read the Excel sheet. You need to go and actually implement it and set up drills that will teach them that. I mean, Younes, how do you feel about it? For me, Ten Hag was the outstanding candidate for this role. But, you know, Xavi is an interesting one.
Ten Hag, you mentioned Ten Hag, and I think, you know what? I think he's probably got the perfect profile for what Barca would need. With Xavi, it's a weird one, because, yes, there's a chance he might succeed. You never know. It's something you've got to give time to. But my fundamental issue with him is just simply what I think all managers need to have when they go into such a big job, and that's a foundation, that's experience. You know, when you look at the ex-players that we've mentioned who have gone to become managers and have had experience, like a Conte, like a Zidane, let's take those two, for example, and then compare to the others. Conte had managed, when he ended his career at Juve, he'd managed Arezzo, he'd managed Siena, he'd managed Atalanta, and then got the Juve job. Worked up from Serie C to Serie A and then got the Juve job. So there's a process there. Zidane was the Castilla manager at Real Madrid. and then moved up to the reserves and whatnot, became assistant manager for Ancelotti, had a bit of time there, and then eventually got the big job. Again, process. Pirlo, literally, ends career, boom, manager, flops. You look at players, you look at ones like Arteta, becomes like what? An assistant under Guardiola, boom, gets the Arsenal job. Lampard has one season at Derby, boom, becomes Chelsea manager. I think you've got to build your foundation, not necessarily in terms of you just trying to bring your ideas to a club, but you've got to build your foundation, your experience as a manager before you take a big job. It's Barcelona, people. This isn't, Burton Albion. This is Barcelona. This is like you talk about the biggest clubs in the world. You think Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. If you want to throw in a Man United, you can because of history. Barcelona. So that's where I'm a bit concerned. And I think that, I think Barca are not stupid. I think they're going down this route because they need to get the fans back on side. Like how, if you remember with Chelsea, we take ourselves, for example, when there was hostility between fans, board, the way that the club was being run. Bring in Lampard, oh yeah, club legend, everyone's lovey-dovey, yeah, this is great, yes, we got our legend back, and everyone kind of forgot, and it got everyone back on side. But I think with Chelsea, it's a bit different because the intentions are there, the people in the club that kind of know what to do are there, and we know, we're reaping the rewards now. But with Barcelona, it's a mess. It's a mess, and I feel like they're desperate. They've gone for Xavi because they know everyone loves him, and we'll see how it works out. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe he'll use that experience that he had under Guardiola as a player, things that he's picked up. But managing in Al Sadd in the Qatari League, yes, he's won the Qatari League last season. It's a good thing, I guess. You can only work with what you have. But to move from 1 or 2 seasons tops with Al Sadd to Barcelona, good luck, Xavi. Good luck.
Yeah, it's a massive jump.
The only thing I'll say is, man management is something that is the biggest question mark because you've not managed many clubs out there. So how do you handle some of the characters at Barcelona? I think in terms of tactical nous, I think I just get the feeling this guy. I mean, let's be honest, Xavi. This is Xavi, boys. Like, this is the Barca that we grew up watching. Xavi knows the ins and outs of possession-based football, how to defend with possession. Forget about defending without possession, how to defend with possession. This guy has the ethos of how to play beautiful football. That should not be taken lightly, to be honest. So, the biggest question mark for me is the man management. Can he handle some of the characters?
It's the application as well. The application of getting his ideas across consistently. Because, it might work for one season. And then, what about the second season? What about the third season? With Lampard, we were all good for one season, top 4. We were like, you know what? Looks like everything's all right. Then it all came crashing down. You've got to be consistent. And that's why I feel experience is key. He has nothing to lay back on. But if he can get them on side and it can go consistent after that,
I do think he has a better chance. I do think he has a better chance than some of the names we mentioned from England, just because of the way that he played the game.
Exactly.
It was a very methodical, methodical approach in the way that he played the game. So then maybe the way that he coaches and the way that he translate will also be very methodical as well. Like Lampard was more like box to box, like it was very rushy.
Bang on, Matisse.
Yeah, it was very much like there was a lot of adrenaline. Do you know what I mean? Because of all the goals that he scored and like all of that. But in terms of like just setting up a team, I don't feel like he was like the base of like the tactics of us, in terms of like the way that we built up play. Like we had the DM and we had like other players as well that would be in that midfield. Whereas Xavi kind of just the way that the pace that he played the game at as well in Spain, like Barcelona was just walking teams off the pitch. So it just feels a little bit more methodical in the way that the approach is instead of the Premier League, which is just like so hustle and bustle. How much are you really taking in terms of like, you know what I mean? The tactics and whatnot.
100%. This is exactly what I was going to say as well, Matisse. Have you guys watched the video, Pep Guardiola's Barcelona video in Amazon Prime, Pass the Ball, Get the Ball, Pass the Ball?
No,
I haven't. No, I need. I need to
Check,
see. That sounds like I need to see that.
that sounds mad. Yeah.
check that out, and this is what I mean. Like the whole Xavi, Iniesta, at that time, Cesc was part of that as well. Guardiola, it was incredible. Messi, the way they talked about football, it was like I get goosebumps because it wasn't football; it was poetry. That's how they played it.
Yeah.
So, this is what I didn't want to completely say, but Matisse is bang on. All the names that we've said in England, Xavi's
a level up,
a tad better than that.
yeah. Well, we're gonna move to another topic, which is taken socials by storm the last 24 hours, and it was for me. It was annoying to see because as a content creator, I know that when there's a piece of content that's over an hour long, I know that one clip does not define the whole piece of content. I know that myself from creating content. However, it was just disappointing to see that what was potentially, I mean, I went to watch a bit of it. I didn't watch all of it, but what was potentially a very, very good show was ruined really by that clip. And it was so, it's just a simple case of people not being able to read the room. And that's something that you've got to learn as an interviewer. And I've only interviewed, journalists and a few former players. So I haven't, interviewed many people that are currently playing. So that's a whole nother level in terms of like having to weave through certain questions and be a little bit more careful with things. But Jody Morris is out of the game. I feel like it's not the most difficult interview in the world in terms of reading the room. They got it horribly wrong, True Geordie and Lawrence. I think it's just disappointing to see your assistant manager, and I didn't agree with Jody half the time. Do you know what I mean? With some of the antics he was doing on socials and etc. He did speak about that, but just backed into a corner so much. It was so awkward to watch, and it was predictable because we know you're searching for the clip of Jody slamming Timo, and then that goes viral, and then that messes up, potentially, and Timo has to respond or whatever, and then it becomes a big saga with Chelsea. Thankfully, Jody didn't bite. You could see Steve Sidwell's face; it was awkward as hell. But it's just really just common sense not to call a player that has worked with a coach less than a year ago shit or whatever. It's not really. It just doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really fit with the scene. You got a great opportunity to ask him some proper questions. I know it wasn't an interview; it was more of a lad's chat. You had such a great opportunity there to really get some sick info, and there was some great info. I seen some of the rest of the stream, but that moment there, it was just poor. Really, really, just a bit scummy. But I mean, what did you guys make of it? It was weird to watch.
Do you want to go first, like?
It
was a weird one. It was a weird one. It's a weird one because True Geordie normally is great when it comes to interviewing. I've seen, if you watch his podcast, you see some of the guests he has on and some of the interviews he does. The most recent one that he done with John Fury, Tyson Fury's dad. That was incredible. That was amazing, and I recommend it. I mean, True Geordie normally plucks out great questions, knows his timing, knows when to stay quiet, knows when to come in. But obviously, this being a lad's chat over a poker game, couple of drinks, maybe that's where he wasn't in that mode. Now, I agree, him and Lawrence had wrecked it in terms of making the whole thing awkward, uncomfortable. I'm not really bothered about that whole thing as a concept, though, and just the way that True Geordie was in terms of the show. Cool. My concern is with the whole Timo Werner thing. Yeah. Right? And this is what, as Chelsea fans, I'm just going to, be specific and just talk about that because when True Geordie mentioned Timo Werner being shit, I don't expect much of a response from Rory. Rory's been clear. Even as a Chelsea fan, he's been clear. He's not a fan of Timo Werner. So when you look over at the table and you see you see Rory with a little smirk, it's expected, right? He's not exactly going to be fighting nail through thick and thin to try and protect or back up Timo Werner. We know he's not.
Which is strange because he used to bang on about people don't get it and they don't understand Chelsea and they don't go to the games. Yeah. I've been to a few games this season and Timo is a fan favorite. They sing his name all the time. Well, so I'm quite actually surprised to see Rory take the other side. Doesn't really go with what he usually does in terms of the narrative. But hey,
Yeah,
a bit strange.
I mean, with that, I mean, yeah, and this is why we are all appreciative of Timo and what he brings, despite the lack of goals, which I think is what True Geordie meant when he said what he said, and I understand from an outsider point of view. But what baffles me is the way that Jody Morris didn't say anything. That's also part of the problem.
Didn't defend
say
him.
anything.
I love you, Younes. I love you.
Do you know what I mean?
You, Younes. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for this.
Rory hasn't worked with Timo Werner, right?
Yeah.
So if he's got an opinion, he's got an opinion, just like we have an opinion, cool.
Yeah.
He doesn't like him, cool. I haven't got a problem with that. You're entitled to that. Jody Morris has been and worked at the club, worked with Timo as an assistant coach to him, in person, and knows him on a personal level, and knows him from the minute he comes into Cobham, from the moment he leaves on a match day, on a day off. Jody Morris knows everything about this guy. When you hear someone call someone that you worked with, who we all appreciate and know is a good character in the dressing room, shit, and you sit back and just fiddle with your cards and don't say anything to actually defend someone you actually know, when you know True Geordie doesn't know him like you do.
Yeah.
That doesn't cut well with me at all. That doesn't cut well with me at all. So out of everyone in that room, I'm happy at Adam.
Adam was brilliant.
He was the only one on that table that came in and said exactly how it is. Exactly, a Man United fan who came in and said the truth about Timo Werner, that he's not appreciated in the way that he should be, and he brings a lot to the team despite the lack of goals. He said that, and I think that's the perfect analysis, but that's his opinion. Jody Morris, though, knowing this guy, working with him, allowing someone to call him shit and not saying anything back, not good.
But this is where I think, and just before Miz goes, I think this is where I think there's a lack of balance now, which is unfortunate. Adam brings a bit of it, but they're missing Hugh Wizzy, because I think sometimes True Geordie falls into some very basic and logic in terms of, Man City, they bought all their success, but then as soon as Newcastle get it, he immediately flips on it, and it's kind of predictable, right? But it just goes to show that he didn't really deep it before you said it, because again, I've said it so many times, if you all had the money, you would all celebrate. So maybe back off a little bit in terms of the whole, they bought everything. You still have to actually build a structure and actually, when given the money, use it correctly. I think Lawrence is very up and down lately with all the antics going on with certain events and whatnot. I'm not going to bother getting into that, but he's kind of gone down a little bit in terms of I used to love watching him, but I just feel like looking at him and the way that he talks, I know I get the certain banter that he has, but it's been going a bit left lately. And Rory, I just disagree with Rory on nearly every single footballing point he makes. So I think Hugh Wizzy really, he's missing. I think he would have been another one to probably stick up for him there and say, hold on a second. Yeah. Yes, we know he doesn't score goals, but take a look at what he actually does do. He's not one of the big... This is my issue, is over-dramatization. He wasn't one of the biggest flops in Chelsea history. That's what True Geordie said. And again, that was just, again, for me, True Geordie just saying something that sounds right without actually either watching the player enough or really deep in what he does outside of scoring goals. And that was just like a common take, just like the Man City thing was a common take, and etc. But he's not going to go down as one of the biggest flops of all time at Chelsea. That's just completely wrong. And I thought, like you said, that's where Jody would have stepped in. Unfortunately, he didn't. I mean, Miz, what did you make of that?
It's exactly when Younes said, the fact that Jody just sat there like that, mate, for you not to say anything,
that says something.
That said something. You should have at least said, hey, no, he's not the biggest flop out there. Even if you don't believe it inside, at least go out and say something that is supportive towards the player, and a player that you managed not that long ago. Let's get this straight. We can say a lot of things about Timo Werner, but one thing about Timo Werner is he's a great character, man. He's a good person. We've seen a lot of players that didn't work out for Chelsea, but also bad characters as well, bad attitude. Do you know what I mean? He's not one of them. This guy wants to do well, wants to work hard, tries hard. And Matisse, you're bang on. Rory out there in the corner, just grinning. I mean, for all
he was going to back it up. He was like, "Well, he will go down." I was like, "Slow your roll." Adam interrupts. I'm like, "Thank God," because this has just gone left.
I mean, for all the antics that you put out there that, you don't understand what, proper Chelsea is. I still don't know what proper Chelsea means, to be honest. You don't know what a proper Chelsea is. You're not a match-going fan. You're not this, you're not that. But you could not even stand for one of your players that are putting the hard yards right now. And you're letting people talk down on him. And you can understand criticism, but that was borderline kind of abusive to some degree, that he'll go down as the biggest flop out there. He's so didn't they say he's rubbish or he's shit or something like that? They said something.
Take up basketball or something, Maz.
Yeah, take up basketball. Oh no, but that has shooting involved. Ooh.
And even then, and at that point, that's what shocked me. Jody didn't say anything till that point.
But
that's
again,
I was expecting someone to come in and be like,
again, no, like I don't. These guys aren't paid pundits. Then they're not paid for their opinions. So they're just normal fans. Now, some of their opinions are a little bit basic in this regard here, and there's no depth to it, and it's a little bit like too basic in my opinion for people that watch the game on a regular basis. I thought there'd be a little bit more depth to their analysis. Cool if they're having a few beers and they just want to just be, really just like skimming the surface of it or whatever. Do what you wish, but I just think it's less of the fact that they're doing this because, like, again, it's just they're not paid pundits. They're just normal fans. But it's the fact that they chose to do this in front of Jody Morris and Steve Sidwell, two former professionals. That's where I'm like, you're not reading the room here. And I think only Adam read the room properly. He was like, this is awkward. They're not saying anything. They're not bantering with you. They're just saying nothing, which, again, I don't think is correct. Some people on Twitter are trying to say that Jody Morris was backed into a corner and it was awkward for him. I feel sorry for him. I'm not going to give him that much leeway. He's a grown man. He's a grown man.
Kindergarten student. I'm back to the corner. Get up and walk away then. Get up and just walk away. I don't want to be involved. Do you know what I mean?
With all due respect, Jody Morris is not a child. He's more than outspoken. Yeah, we've seen that in the past. He has definitely got certain things to say. I saw him respond to the Jose Mourinho debacle situation.
To fans. He says stuff to fans.
So Jody Morris is not exactly shy. If this was a shy person, then fair enough, I could take your point. But he's not exactly shy. So I think he could have been a lot better in terms of just they're bringing up something at the table. You say something, innit? That's what you're there for. You're not there to be awkward and shy away from it. You're not a child. But yeah, I just found the whole thing just weird. It was just unnecessary.
Do you know what? He could have at least said, guys, that's a bit inappropriate. And they could have just edited that bit out and just, start again.
I think it was live. I don't know.
It could have been, because I think it was a Twitch stream. I think it was live. It was a Twitch stream. It could have been very easy. It could have been very easy for him to handle. But the moment that they started, not just when True Geordie went, he's straight up shit. Or that point where, he needs to take our basketball, but, it involves shooting. At that point, Jody could have gone, now, you know what? I understand that, he's not been firing and all that, but you have to understand what he brings to the team. You have to understand what his character, his charisma in the dressing room for the lads in terms of, the rest of the team, what he does on the pitch, how he helps the team on and off the ball, despite not scoring goals. And you can probably say, you know what? When it comes to goals, we all know he needs to up his game. But everything else that he does, this is why he's not regarded as a flop, because he does everything else right.
Easy.
If Jody had just gone into that a little bit and just gone, you know what? I agree. He needs to up the goals, but you got to understand he does this and he does that and he does that, and he's a great lad. Overall, he's a great presence to have. Very easy. Subject would have been sorted. Would have moved on.
It's actually it's so easy to speak on Timo Werner when he's being slandered. Like you say, there are things that he's bringing to the table. And the attitude and, doesn't, throw his toys out the pram and say, I'm going to give up. There's so many things that you can pull to protect him. It's not like as if he's impossible to protect. He's actually quite easy to protect.
No. This is the thing. He knows him personally. He worked with him. This isn't like all of us where we have an opinion from the outside. You were on the inside. You've worked with this guy. You know him.
And you know what, Younes? Him not saying anything makes me think you can't agree with what these lads are saying. And you just didn't want to say anything about it.
He can't
and you just kept quiet.
If he does, he's in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, so you kept quiet thinking, these lads are actually saying the truth. I'm not going to say anything, but it is pretty much. You should have said something, because by not saying anything, it's even made it worse. And it now makes me think even deeper. The way we collapsed during last this year around January and December.
Is
and
he the kind of coach do you want around when things are going badly?
Bang on.
Yeah.
And the stuff that Athletic was saying, the coaching staff had favorites. They only spoke to the players that they liked. They didn't speak to the players they didn't like. And Jody, in that clip, that short clip, and I didn't watch it just like you either, Matisse, he kept on saying, yeah, new manager, new bounce, a different formation that could work for the players that weren't playing. It kind of made me seem like you knew what the problem was, but you stayed stubborn to the way you wanted to do things, and you wanted everyone to sort of fall into the place on that. Yeah. And it was your way or highway, which, okay, fine, I get it. It was, you guys have been appointed. You weren't appointed to steal someone else's ideology. You were appointed to create your own plans and ideas and stick true to that. But it kind of gave me a bit of salty vibe that, he's got this sour taste, do you know what I mean, of getting sacked from Chelsea. But it gave me a deeper sort of perspective that there must have been a lot of things that was gone bad during that December-January period where there would have been a lot of players that probably just didn't believe in that coaching stuff anymore. So
the more I reflect on it and I see these interviews and I see these moments, I'm just thinking to myself that there's actually no surprise that it collapsed the way it did, because they had no experience on how to deal with a falling building. Do you know what I mean? They had no experience of how to deal with something that's collapsing or something that you're in terrible form. And I could just imagine they just probably got every single thing wrong that you need to get right in a moment like that, where you do need to, maybe tweak your ideas, and you do need to show a little bit of leeway and start to maybe put arms around shoulders of certain players and kick up the arses for certain ones, and maybe a little bit of misjudgment with that on who to give those arms around the shoulder to. Because maybe Tuchel is giving that arm around the shoulder to Ziyech, whereas Hudson-Odoi is saying, listen, pick up your shit. And people are saying that's a bit harsh on Hudson-Odoi, that's a bit light on Ziyech, but it's about the character. Who responds to what? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And he knows them day in, day out. So Ziyech may be performing worse than Hudson-Odoi, but Hudson-Odoi probably responds better maybe to that, and Ziyech responds better maybe to that. And I think you could just see the inexperience, despite loads of respect for all the Youth Cup wins and all that kind of stuff. But again, just top level experience with top players. No, there's hardly any experience there. And this is why when Lampard was going through that period, I said, who is he leaning on for advice to deal with this situation? And he doesn't have anyone, because nobody can give any, because no one's been in this situation either.
Because Jody was quiet. Jody stayed quiet.
Imagine, yeah. Started looking at his cards. So, I mean, look, I've said it before on Twitter. There's something about Jody, as much as I've got all the respect for him in the world for what he's done for the club, there's something about Jody that just doesn't sit well with me, like personality-wise. But that's just something that I sense. But it was a weird clip. And it's a shame, because I used to follow those guys and watch all their content, but I just feel like last few months and just different things just continue to keep coming out, and it's just annoying, to be honest, because it took away from what was a really, really, like, if you go and watch the full stream, 90% of it was brilliant, like it was great, you know what I mean? But nobody's gonna remember that because of that clip, and it's just a shame. But moving on to Newcastle, ground that we do not travel well to at all. I'm not nervous, I promise. Because you know what's so mad about Newcastle is that because they're playing so poorly, right? They're playing so poorly at the moment. They don't have a Premier League team, in my opinion. It's very much a Championship level team. Apart from a few standouts like Sir Maximin, maybe Callum Wilson, etc. But maybe one or two others. It is a Championship team with Hayden, with Longstaff, with all these guys. But we don't do well up there. Our record is poor. So is anybody else worried about this? Or is this just another we're in a new place. We've got Thomas Tuchel now. We defend properly. We're going to go up there and we're going to get the business done and quality will prevail. Or is anybody shitting themselves? Younes, Viz?
I feel good. Personally. I'm not scared.
I love how we're always opposite. Like, I actually feel a bit nervous, but Younes is buzzing.
Yeah, because I remember them for the semi-finals of the Champions League versus Real Madrid. I was shitting myself. I think Younes was kind of in the middle, and Miz was like, we've won, we're through. And I was like, how can you say we're through? We're 1-1 on aggregate. How can you say that? He's like, we're through, we're done, it's over. Don't even bother, mate, it's done.
And it worked out. I mean, With Newcastle, you know what? It's a bit of PTSD. That's all it is. It's a bit of PTSD. And yeah, they're going to get the new manager bounce, which is the only thing that I'm technically concerned about, because it's the first game at St. James's Park with their interim manager, their caretaker manager. Now, albeit it's a caretaker manager, so I can't really read into that too much. We don't know what this guy's actually capable of or what he's going to do. No one knows a thing about him. Except for the Newcastle lot. But
maybe even Newcastle don't know anything.
Maybe even Newcastle don't know. But, you know, this isn't nothing. This isn't anything to be really concerned about just yet with Newcastle, because the owners have just come in. It's only been a change of face in terms of who's running the club. That is the only thing that's changed. Now, if we're talking the January transfer window and onwards, okay, then maybe they're going to be bringing in new players. They'll change the entire setup. Things will begin to get into motion. But as it stands, we're still playing the struggling Newcastle. Now with an interim manager rather than Steve Bruce. That's the only thing. So maybe there's a bit of a bounce in terms of the atmosphere, in terms of the players giving it a little bit more. But I still think we'll have their number. And hopefully it's just a bit of PTSD in terms of history at that ground. And, you know, the Chelsea fans probably struggling with breathing problems going all the way to the flipping top at St. James's, because it's about 1.5 miles up into the sky. But apart from that, though, I think we'll be all right. And we'll be playing our main 11. We'll be playing our first string team. So we should be okay. I'm expecting a win.
Miz, what about you? You're nervous.
It's strange. I'm nervous about the games where we shouldn't be nervous, and Younes is the other way. He's nervous about the games that we should be, pumped up. We're going to win this, and then he's the other way as well. But I'm nervous because I get weary about these sort of teams that haven't won yet. Because can they actually go a season without winning? Like, surely there's a win coming somewhere. I think Norwich was another team that didn't win. But we pasted them, which is fine. But as you said, Matisse, Newcastle got a little bit more weaponry than Norwich. St. Maximin, Callum Wilson. Yeah. Even that Almiron guy, I don't know if he's injured or not. Almiron is pretty good. He's pacey. He can string a couple of passes together. So I'm pretty sure Newcastle hasn't won yet, right, this season? They haven't won.
Have they not?
They haven't.
I don't think they've won yet.
No, them and Norwich, I think, definitely haven't won.
So... How long can this go for? How long can this go for? They're at home.
And Burnley.
Fans, and Burnley.
Okay, yeah.
So, they're at home, new owners, buzzing. These guys are going to have the Saudi Arabian flags flying everywhere. They're going to have that, that turban thing, flying everywhere. Everyone's going to look like Arabs over there. Do you know what I mean? It's bound to just... One of these days, they're bound to get a win. And I'm just a bit weary about that sort of scenario. So, look, we should have the quality. Don't get me wrong. Defensively, we should be able to stay solid. I don't think it's going to be a pace thing. I predicted Norwich was going to sit back. It was just strange to see Norwich just press sometimes, and I didn't even know what their game plan was. They were trying to go toe-to-toe at times with us, and I'm like, you don't have the capabilities, my man, to do that. Do you know what I mean? Don't do that. Just hang back. But I seriously think Newcastle's game plan will be to sit deep and exploit St. Maximin and Almiron and Callum Wilson, try and get us, 3v3 at the back somehow, and Maximin does some magic. So, yeah, if we can defensively be solid and somehow break down their low block, then hopefully we get a win. But I don't think it's going to be a pace thing.
No, it's a game we have to win, isn't it? Because we've got a stretch of games, like we said, with the Burnley up next, I believe, as well. Like we just got to win these games. Like I can already see the way the title race is unfolding, and you can tell Man City and Liverpool are not going to drop many more points. Like, they are right up our ass every single game week. We win, they go and win as well. And it just keeps going and going. And I think the top three, for as long as Ollie's going to be in charge at Man United, if he's there for 3 more games or whatever it is, that gap from the top 3 to everybody else is just going to keep extending and extending and extending. And I said it last week, I think, this is going to be like a 90 points plus if you want to win the title. It feels like it's going to be that. Because the gap in quality is just so big. It's going to take 90 plus points. And I think we can maximum get 105 5 or 8 or something like that. Someone said in the comments the other week. But like, it's going to be such a slog. Like, we are going to have to find so much. It's only really last season that it wasn't tight. And that was only because Liverpool had loads of injuries. The 2 seasons prior to that, Man City and Liverpool were neck and neck.
Yeah, it was tight. Yeah.
And it was just a real slog. And if we're going to get involved in that, which we are currently, then we're going to have to really, and this is why January, I'm saying for certain players, we can't afford to have any passengers, because there's no passengers in that Liverpool team. There's no passengers in that City team. We can't afford to have passengers. So if there are any passengers in January, we're going to have to do a 1 in, 1 out. And even if it's loans with obligation to buy for the person leaving, and then maybe the person coming in just a loan, we need to try something, Sal Niguez, we can say maybe it hasn't worked to everybody's, the level everybody hoped it would, but maybe it's given Loftus-Cheek a kick up the arse, and that's made him better, and therefore it's actually been a good signing because it's just made someone else better. We need to have someone come in if things are not working out in that attacking midfield for a few players where they're going to give kicks up the arse, and even if they're not performing, at least they've made someone else better because now they feel threatened. If the current players who are not playing don't threaten and don't have good performances when they come in and threaten those in the starting 11, then complacency is only around the corner. So huge game, have to win. And I'm this Premier League title race is going to be gripping, and I'm nervous, man, because I really think we can do it. I think we can win it, but we are going to have. This might be our most difficult title to win out of all the ones we've had prior.
Do you know what, Matisse? If we're going to be in the mix, or we're even going to win it, we need at least a good 10 to 12 game winning. I'm not talking about unbeaten.
You're talking about Conte, yeah,
that Conte 13 games, 14
something
games,
like that. Yeah, I can't remember. It was a while. Yeah, good proper run that was.
Good proper run. Momentum was building. We were looking ruthless. I'm not talking about the unbeaten. The whole unbeaten could have draws in there. We can't have draws. I'm talking about winning streak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
10, 11, 12 games of winning streak starting from here. And yeah, because what would 10 games be from here? It would take us till January, right?
Around about that, yeah.
Pretty much. And I'm looking at the fixture list now, and I'm thinking, you know what? That time, I think, is now. Up until the Christmas period into the New Year, it's now. Because when you look at the fixtures, it works in our favour. We've got Newcastle, Burnley, and then we've got Leicester away, Man United. So those are the 2. But then after that, Watford, West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton. And then you're in January.
We should win.
We should get a nice little cushion. After that, we got to play Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham all back to back. So
Jesus Christ.
I think that's the decider. If you come out of Christmas with wins and then you have those games and you put on
and the Club World Cup is around there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and that will give us some breathing space because we would have played Liverpool twice, we would have played City twice, and then we'd go to the Club World Cup.
Younes, we're winning
potentially League Cup semi-finals around that time as well. If we are in that, this squad is going to be pushed to its limits in that period. That is going to be stress.
Now until Jan is key.
And we're more than capable of beating Manchester United. I hope they don't have a new manager by then. That could change things. That could change the way that game goes.
Please, I hope they pay Spurs. I hope they beat Spurs this weekend. I really do. I'm going to be cheering Man United. Please.
We should honestly be cheering them, because if Conte's in the seat by the time we play them, that changes the whole game. The whole game changes.
I won't lie though, that would be box office, wouldn't it? Can you imagine?
Oh, it would.
Against
Back 3 versus back 3.
Back at the
backs versus wing backs.
God.
Yeah, because I've said it. I've been speaking to Man United fans for the last few days. I've actually got a pre-recorded video ready to come out when Ollie's maybe just on the verge of being sacked, or maybe after one more defeat or whatever it is. Conte's maybe on the verge of coming in. But they've got a team ready to play with wing backs. Dalot on the right hand side and Tellez on the left. And Maguire played in a back 3 at Hull City. It's probably the last time I've seen him play at a really, really strong level consistently before he made his move to Leicester, I think. And they don't have a DM. So what do you do when you don't have a DM? Get an extra centre back and go over the pivot. So you have a bit more security. So they're actually set up to play a little bit like that. And obviously Conte is just going to bring more structure regardless.
With United, I don't think they have the one ingredient that you need. You know what that is? Which we learned. You got to be ready to suffer. United, I don't think have that.
Younes, you're on fire today, bro. You're on fire.
I did not expect that at all.
I did not expect that.
United fans don't know about suffering, man. I mean,
You don't know
when Conte walks into a press conference, if he does become United manager, and he goes, "We must be ready to suffer." That is when we're all gonna be like, "Oh my god, you don't know what you've just signed up for, United. You don't know. You don't know."
But you know what?
Ready to suffer, no?
Do you know what it is? We mainly suffered in the second season, but Conte is very good at winning league titles. It's what he does.
Good,
he wins at Juventus. He wins at Inter. He wins at Chelsea. His European record is shocking. His record in Europe is absolutely abysmal. He lost the Europa League final as well with Inter Milan, Lukaku, with that team to Sevilla. But his league record is dangerous. He knows how to win a league. And he's already won this league as well. So that's what worries me with him. Like, I feel like he's not long-term. He'll come in at Man United for a couple seasons, do his thing, then start a war and get sacked, like, and then they'll have to go and maybe build again. But that's kind of the position they're in, which is kind of what they're ready for. They're ready for someone to come in and win for a couple years and then blow it up, and then they have to go and start again with a project. Pogba's in his prime, Ronaldo's aging, Bruno Fernandes is in his prime, Maguire is meant to be in his prime, De Gea, like they've got quite a experienced team dotted around with a few young players. They're actually ready to go for things now, then rip it all up in a couple of years and go again with like your, Greenwoods and, players like that. So, but hopefully Ollie's still in charge by then. But yeah, like you said, Younes, we need to go on a serious run. Those fixtures that you read out after the Man United and Leicester fixtures, yeah, we need to be firing. And I think after this period, we'll know whether we're here to stay, because it's all well and good being top now, and Arsenal have even been top in January after beating Leicester at home at the Emirates, but they didn't stick it out. And if we're going to be there come April, May, when it matters, then this is probably a very good time to put together a run. Because like you said, before we aired, Club World Cup, AFCON, semi-finals of League Cup, if we get through the next round, that is when that is the period I expect us to drop points. Taking off my Chelsea hat, we have to win every game or I'm going to go crazy. That's where I expect us to drop points, because that period is going to be such a mess. We're going to be playing sometimes Sunday, and there's a game on Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's going to happen. Yeah. You're not going to get through that period where we don't have a messed up fixture back to back, where we're just going to have to play two completely different 11s. Like not a single, maybe the goalkeeper, Max, will be able to play. Everybody else is going to have to get swapped. I remember when Liverpool went to the Club World Cup and Klopp just took two different teams. He said one team's for the Carabao and one team's for the Club World Cup. He literally just split the two teams. And one, you're staying here and we're going over there. And the assistant manager can run that. I'll run that. Two different groups. You fly out there, you stay here.
Do you know what I mean?
We might have to do that. We actually might have to do that.
Kepa in goal here. Mendy in goal in Dubai.
Recall Gilmore. Send out two squads. Recall all the loanies.
Malang Sarr will get game time.
We've got good depth to do that. The thing is,
we do.
The depth they need to wake up a bit. They need to take things seriously. Do you know what I mean? Looking at these Carabao Cup matches, Aston Villa, and the one that just went, Southampton, I still don't feel some of these fringe players are really taking. Like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, boys, he took it. He took his opportunity. I need that level somewhere. You can just go, whoa, that player just, caught my eye.
Some of them don't have the facilities for that.
They don't have the facilities. They don't have the facilities.
They're looking at you like, I don't have the facilities for that, boss. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You see what he just did? I don't have the facilities for that. That's just the cold truth. Some of them are just not on that level. Like, they can't replicate that. And that's the problem. So, but that just comes with the squad. We can't have 22 first teamers. It's just not possible. That's how you have an unhappy dressing room.
Also, what we've got to bear in mind for the Club World Cup, I mean, obviously when it was Klopp and it was Liverpool, it was in December.
Yeah.
For us, there's still no date. It could be January, it could be February. Yeah. We don't know. So when it comes out, we'll probably know. If it does click, and if it is February, then chances are we might have already made it to the Carabao Cup final at that point.
Yeah.
If it's January, then no. But we'll see. That will play around when the dates come out.
If it's January, you have League Cup semi-finals, You have FA Cup third round, sorry. So the first FA Cup game as well. You have Premier League, Club World Cup. So that's a lot.
AFCON. Mendy will be gone.
If it's February, I think the Champions League starts. And the League Cup final.
Champions League and the League.
No, I think
February.
February.
Yeah, so it's probably better to have it. Maybe, I don't know, because February you've got Champions League knockouts. So you don't.
But then again, will UEFA compensate for the fact that we're away because we're one of the last 16, and all the last 16 games have a structure that need to be played at the same time? So I don't know if they might compensate and wait a little bit.
Yeah. Wherever it goes,
UEFA, hang about. Let us win this. We'll be back very shortly. Yeah, and then we can start playing.
Whatever happens, we're screwed. It's like fixtures are going to be a mess. Whatever happens, you know what I mean? It's going to be nuts. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to all of that. But Newcastle's the next one. That's what we got to get through that first, and then we'll go from that later. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff, isn't it? It's not even live, is it?
3 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah, 3 p.m.
I hate those kickoffs. Jesus Christ.
Which is crazy. One of the richest games in football. What's that about? Huh?
Such a struggle to get that Carabao Cup game last night, wasn't it? I had to go to the deep depths of the underworld to find that one. Does your stream sometimes pause, Younes, and you're like, oh shit?
It happened twice, Twice in the second half.
Style it out.
No, once on the penalties, I was like, oh my God, no, not now. And I got it back. So, yeah.
I can't believe, like, in UK, you don't get, like, some sort of subscription that you can get and you watch all, like, that's insane. Like, in Australia, we get that. Like, obviously you have to pay for it, but then you get all the Carabao Cup matches, you get all the FA Cup matches.
West Ham Man City wasn't live. Matches. Yeah, it wasn't live.
That's insane. I find that
crazy.
No, the Carabao Cup Sky showed. So when Chelsea played, they showed Arsenal Leeds. That was on Sky. Liverpool Preston was on Sky. That's it. All the others, no TV. But around the world, just like Saturday 3:00, it's not shown in the UK, and that's because of an old regulation, an old betting law, I think, where it still applies, where they can't show a game that kicks off at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. If it starts at 2:55, they can. 3:00, they can't. It's weird.
Like, there's never a 3 o'clock kickoff that's live.
No, never. And around the world, like beIN Sports, they show every single 3:00 kickoff. Like every Premier League game, it's on beIN.
Yeah.
So I've got so we've got in Australia, we've got 3 different subscriptions. One for Premier League, one for the Champions League, but the Champions League shows a whole heap of other stuff as well. Like, it shows J League and a whole heap of other different leagues as well. Optus, which is my phone provider, they show all the Premier Leagues, all the women's Premier Leagues, internationals as well. When I want to watch the Premier League matches at 3 p.m., obviously there's a whole heap of ones. I can literally choose which one I want to watch because they're telecasting all of them. And then there's a goal rush where I'll choose one game, but I'll see every time there's a goal from other games, they'll quickly show that as well.
A multiplex.
So I don't get how.
I'm moving to Australia. Fuck this. I'm moving to Australia to get closer to the English game.
Mate, you could move to Africa and get closer to the English game than here. Like, even they're watching a Saturday 3
Super
o'clock
Sport.
on normal TV.
Super Sport, Variety 1, Variety 2, Variety 3. They would teach me on Twitter.
Just here, we can't do it. When it's 3 o'clock Saturday, we can't do it.
So what do you guys do? Like, you're bootlegging streams?
Oh, yeah.
No, we've got ways. Don't have it.
We've got our ways, bro. When 3 o'clock kickoffs come in, I'm suddenly in the nation of Kenya. And I'll find it. I tweeted out on my burner. I was like, I'm in Africa now. Stop asking questions. It was like, welcome home. I was like, I'm not really there.
Like, you best believe when it's a Saturday 3 o'clock, I've got Arab commentary in my ear.
Yeah.
So.
I've noticed that because I've seen some of your watch-alongs and there's Arab commentary happening. Dude, that's crazy.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's actually mad. Are you guys watching the Netflix series You as well? I have to ask.
I've watched it.
Oh, I've just ended series 2. Oh,
I like
Liz, you've got to watch it, bro. It's good.
Yeah, it's
good.
It's
like
not like Squid Game, or is it sort of
no, not like that.
Very different.
It's very different, but it's really good and it's gripping. Like you won't lose interest.
It has you questioning your morals. Let's just have that.
100%.
Ooh, is it a thriller? Like, is it action and stuff? Like, I need a bit of. Don't tell me it's like a rom-com or something like that.
No, God, no. No, it's not a rom. It's not a rom-com.
Unless you want to call it a rom-gore.
Whoa.
It's definitely action. There is action. There is a lot going on. It's not like it's not Dwayne Johnson action, but it's action. There's definitely action.
It's a different type of action.
Yeah, it's a different type of action.
I think I might have to start watching this.
But I just got to the end of season 2, and holy shit, I was like, wow.
You just finished season 2.
Yeah.
No. Season 3 shifts like it's good. It's good.
So
Younes is always ahead of us.
He is. I'm at that stage in my life now where I just go with whatever's trending on Netflix in terms of series. They always seem to deliver. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be that guy that tries to find something that's not trending. If everybody's talking about it, it must be good. And so far, it's working for me. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. But, I mean, listen, we're going to wrap up. Big up to everybody for watching this one. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I'm sure you did. Smash up the icons. You already know. And, Miz, bro, let them know where to find you. Any content coming out?
No, I've stayed a bit quiet off the back of the last one. And I'm liking a little bit of break. I don't want to just... As I've said to you guys, like if there's something that I want to put my opinion out there, I'll do it. I thought I would do the Jody Morris thing, but we've done it here, so I don't see any point in going and doing another extra bit. So the next bit of content probably be the Newcastle preview, and talks about that particular match. So yeah, you guys can catch me on the other side of the coin. Trying to actually mix things up because some people have been wanting the lives as well. So trying to throw a live here and there, but still predominantly just videos. But yeah, next one is Newcastle.
Big up. And Younes, bro, same for you. Let them know where to find you and any content coming out.
Yeah, obviously, as it says right here, you know where to find me. Obviously keeping up the content in terms of just generic latest news for now. Obviously, tomorrow will be Newcastle versus Chelsea preview, and then the watch along, the review, and then we keep it moving. Malmo in midweek, and all of that. But alongside that, if anything big happens elsewhere, like it did for Man United and Liverpool and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, best believe I'm talking about it. Just like I think I'm going to mention the thing about Xavi or two like we did it today. So I'll see if I do that, when it's confirmed, if it's confirmed. Keeping our eye across the spectrum. But tomorrow, preview for Newcastle-Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start like throwing in just other clubs, just little videos just here and there. Do you know what I mean? Just start dashing them in because I do get jealous of those channels that just talk about anything in European football that they want. And it doesn't matter what. And I'm just like, Rabona TV, for example, like just can talk about anything. And I'm just like, I want that. Because I don't, because then
the man talks about Benfica and gets 60k views. Like, come on, man.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
You're taking
maybe there's a serious Benfica market that we're not tapping into, gentlemen. Oh God! But listen, guys, you already know what to do. Smash up the icons, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the preview. In a bit, people. Peace.